quite interested in what happens next in Russia. There have been lots of rumours in the papers and in the media that Putin's health is disintegrating rapidly. What happens if the inevitable arises and he's unable to continue as leader of Russia?
Well, that's a great question. And I noticed that Mark Galeotti, one of the strongest commentators on the situation, he's been commenting for years on this, did make the point about Putin's health from the appearance in the recent broadcast. I think the key thing there is whether his old FSB cronies, Patrushev, Sechin and company, can hold off growing discontent or at least apathy in the armed forces. I wouldn't see a military coup, but the question is, would any new regime, and that's a big if, be able to carry on the war? And I think that's debatable.
Because it seems that
very debatable.
It seems that Putin is no longer as popular as perhaps he once was among ordinary Russians. We've seen hundreds of thousands of Russian men trying to leave the country in order to avoid being conscripted. We've seen today that Finland has now closed their borders. They're the last country to do so because of the numbers of Russians who are trying to leave that way. It's very interesting in terms of the polling as well in Russia. Apparently only 23% of Russians who were surveyed were proud of their country. Could it be that Putin's actions become more and more incredulous as a result of this loss of support?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I think, in fact, that is the way he would go. Rather than back down, he would continue to escalate. His big challenge is it is still a momentous step to use or even to demonstrate a nuclear weapon because of the attitude of his so-called allies, China and India. India is not really an ally, but it's a partner of Russia. But what would he do up to that stage without crossing that threshold?
Lastly, what can the international community do besides send more military and financial support to the Ukrainians?
Well, I think we need to be careful here. I always feel the words international community should be put in quotation marks. That's really a symbol now for the united or hopefully united West. More economic sanctions, more diversification, more calling out of the sheer corruption and brutality of the regime, and to ensure that we build up our own resilience and our ability to produce weapons and weapons-related equipment at scale, because he may be gambling, probably incorrectly, that we will start running out of equipment just as he's running out of his high-tech equipment.